Nouveau Geek. I'm Christine.
I'm Andrea.
And this is Oscar Fernandez, right?
Huh? I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
We
make sure.
can go with that. I'll be Fernandez for a day.
Sometimes it's hard to pronounce words.
It is. So we're here with Oscar. He is a local artist, and we're so excited because we get to interview somebody on our couch.
Right.
Like, this is a big deal.
Welcome to our couch.
Welcome to the Orange Couch. So we wanted to interview Oscar. Like I said, he's a local artist, and he has come up with a game. He's come up with a comic book. He's come up with, like, awesome art in general.
Right.
So
he's just awesome in general.
He is pretty awesome in general.
Right.
We met him last year. Okay, let me rephrase that. I met him last year. I don't know if you met him.
No, I just met him this year.
Okay, I met him last year at a MagicCon, and then Andrea met him this year at a MagicCon. And so, yeah, a MagicCon's awesome for that.
Pretty much.
It's connecting
Way to network
local.
the artists.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you started art in general. Like, did you come out of the womb, as most artists?
Yeah, I came out. I had a marker in one hand, a brush in the other.
Done.
The doctor was a little terrified. But no, it's like most artists, it starts out at a young age. I was in elementary school. Mm-hmm. I got my first comic when I was about 7. It was a Captain America comic. I really don't like Captain America that much. He's okay. He's all right.
I think Christine's not going to be your friend anymore.
No, I love Captain America. But that's beside the
Chris
point.
Evans, he fixed it for me.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Moving on.
But anywho, no, it was just sitting down in the classroom. I always finish my projects super early, so I always had a lot of spare time while the other kids were working on stuff. So I would look in the books and I'd see the animals, and I would just sit down and I just wanted to copy that.
Okay.
And I wanted to color like that. And at the time, I thought I was amazing. It looked nothing like it at all, not even close. But my teacher would be like, "Oh my God, that is so good. That is so amazing." So through all of elementary school, they've got me drawing stuff for plays and things like that.
Okay.
And, I sit down and I'm like, okay, so everyone tells me I'm amazing. This is so good. And I know at one point, I don't know, I think I was 6th, 7th grade, I started looking through all my old things. I'm like, these are awful. These are so bad. Why were they lying to me? But it kind of just came from that, and I just never really stopped.
Okay. Well, that's a good place, actually. But you see that you've improved, and I think it's really awesome that even though you look back at your stuff and you're like, wow, that's crap, at least in your opinion, your teachers were there to encourage you. And
they did a good job.
They are the reason that you are here now.
Funny enough, when was it? 10th grade.
Okay.
I was taking some AP drawing class or whatever. And my teacher comes up to me, he's like, "Oscar, you can't draw, dude."
Oh, no.
Rude.
Yeah, he was just straight up. He was just like, "Yeah, you can't draw." He's just like, "You need to do something else, keep this as a hobby." And then that's when I really hammered down. I was getting anatomy books and things like that, just so I can refine. I wanted things to look anatomically correct, whether it was feathers or hands, the best I could. And that's when I really crunched down and I decided this is what I really want to do.
Well, that's good that you took that and you were like, I'm gonna show you that I'm better than that.
Fantastic.
Anyways.
Isn't that a common theme with artists? They go back and they look at stuff they did a year ago and they're like, "Oh my God, that's crap."
Mm-hmm. It's
why
is that hand moving this way?
Right.
He has 2 right hands. What?
Right.
Why?
But that's how you grow as an artist, though, correct?
It's
very true.
Because you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. How did you come into this game, Wild Space? That's right. The
Yep,
name?
Wild Space,
Okay.
yep,
I was
yep.
looking at the glare. How did you start with this?
Well,
No, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
How did you start being a game
Well,
developer?
in the early 90s when I was a child, Genesis and PS1, I loved video games, things like that. And what I loved was the stories. The longer the game, the better.
Okay.
In 98, 99, when I was playing the old Final Fantasies, I loved them because I knew I was going to sit down for at least 60 hours.
Okay.
Not at once.
Yeah.
My mother would never let me. It's true. So, just the longer the game, the better. And that's what I loved. And it wasn't until I met my now father-in-law. I was about 17.
Okay.
And he is a closet nerd.
Okay.
He was the jock in high school football. He did the whole little, I'm going to try to be a rock star thing.
Okay.
Join the military. Now he's a detective.
Sorry.
He retired from SWAT because he's all old and crusty now. But anyway, if he's watching this, I still love you, Paul. Trust me. But
so anyways.
one day he was just like, "Oscar, we need to play some dog and dog. We need to roll some bones." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Dog and dog?" I'm like, "Are we going outside? Are we playing with the dogs? I don't know." He's like, "No, man. We need to play some D&D." And I'm like, "That's for super nerds." I'm a super nerd. And I haven't gone that far. That's like old people that like grew up like in the 70s and you played in the sewers worshiping Satan and stuff.
Oh my god!
But that was a deal, like in the 80s, like that was the thing. D&D was like a Satan worshipping cult.
Yeah.
I read an article about that, whatever, and it wasn't. But I mean, that was like the perception that people had about the game.
Okay, I didn't know that,
Yeah.
but now I feel like I need to question my own father who played D&D, whose name is Paul. Weird.
And it was only because it was. It's just because it was different. I think it was just because of the.
Well, it was like there was like there was monsters and like spells, so people saw it like witchcraft.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, so we sat down and he's played D&D, Palladium, which was a lesser known RPG, but it had a lot of like additional rules as far as like sanity and things like that. So he taught me the old school pen and paper way. You sit down with some notebook paper, a pencil, you get some polyhedral dice, which is all these funny weird shaped dice looking things, 10s and 8s, and according to you guys, regular dice.
They are regular dice.
But yeah, so we sat down and we played our first little session, I guess, and I just fell in love.
Okay.
Because I have a pretty good imagination, so you'll see a lot of times they sell like the miniatures and then like the graphs with like, oh, this is a dungeon, like kind of a tile set.
Okay.
And then this is like, the forest, a village. And you really don't need that in these games. And that's what I loved about it, because I could just buy these dice, a whole set for $5.
Yeah.
And get some notebook paper and a pencil and play with my friends for an entire weekend.
Okay.
Right.
And that was the big appeal for it for me. And it was just kind of went from there. And me and my buddies, when I moved up here, I found a little group and we just started, playing like Magic and things like that. And I was like, do you guys play D&D? And they're like, we love D&D. And they started super getting heavy into it, like 3.5 over 4th edition and da-da-da. I'm like, no. Let's just play old school first. Here's some pen and paper. We don't need all those extra rules to have fun.
Okay.
Because it's way overcomplicated. And I'd sit there sometimes when I'm playing after a few hours, I'm like, I haven't been adding that bonus the entire time. Right. And so I pretty much was like, we want to play a game where we don't have to worry about all these extra bonuses and numbers. Right. And that's where I got the inspiration to make that.
Okay,
that's
perfect.
Awesome, which is great because it's a little intimidating for somebody who's new to gaming to really come into that. And we played the game.
Yeah.
He sort of showed us the mechanics of the game. Yeah. And it's super easy to catch on. It's very, like... It's nice that, the creator is there to sort of, like, help us through.
That did help a lot.
But it was super easy, and I actually... I could totally get into RPG games. It's the first game I've ever played like that, but it's our gateway RPG game.
It's funny because like the longest part of the setup probably is just reading like the backgrounds on the races. Right. Yeah. Because each one is very different, so you kind of what kind of character do you want to play? Yeah. I've always liked the like space western theme, and in all these RPGs, you have human, elf, orc. And they're all still very humanoid. Right. And that's what I kind of wanted to get away from just a little bit. Okay. So there's 4 main alien races, and they're all very different as far as how they look and function. Yeah. So, that's pretty much it.
I know that you've got like a comic that you want to have come out. Is it okay? So about the comic, I really want to ask about this. Do you want the comic to come out with this or before it? You wanted to come out with it to explain the
plan is, I guess, do a little bit of world building. I would want to do like a 15, 20-page comic right in the beginning. Okay. So it's almost like a story. You sit there and you fumble through it and you read it like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on. And then, this is a game now. Yeah. And then you go ahead and start from there.
Okay, so because of that, how long have you been working on this game comic also?
1 year.
That's it?
That's it. I lose track of time. Okay. I go to another dimension. I don't know why. Like, I'll sit down. I was terrible in high school because I would sit there and I would start drawing something, and I was look at the time. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. I gotta be up like at 6:30ish, get ready for school. Right. I could do this in like in an hour. And then next thing you know, I'm into it, and then hours go by. And I'm like, oh, it's done. Lovely. What time is it? Oh, it's 5 a.m. Awesome.
So it took you a year to do to come up with the concept and to draw the thing. Or to draw the game and
just
stuff.
All of it, yeah. And everything that's here.
And then you test played it as well, right? How long? What was your time
Basically, frame for test play? This was a really bad time to get started on this because when I came up with the concept of the game, we were playing like every Friday night. We'd have D&D at my house, and we'd switch off between me and my buddy Gates, who would be DM. So at this point, I was the player, and I was like, you know, I want to come with something a lot more simple. And I think it was like January, February-ish, and I came up with this idea. And within a week, I came up with a lot of like the races and things like that. And then my wife's like, "Oh, we're finally pregnant." And I'm like,
that makes sense then.
And I'm like, yeah. So it was. I just wanted to get as much done as I could. Okay. So I got the basically the story fleshed out. I got the characters out, and I got all the drawings done.
Yeah. Okay.
The drawings, there's about 55. Took me about 2 months.
Okay.
And after those 2 months, we're done, and I've got the kind of mechanics all squared away. And then my son was born June 17th. Yeah, we'll go June 17th. We'll go with that. But it was just like the lack of sleep.
Okay,
I was like,
that makes sense.
It's like I got 1.5 hours of sleep last night, and I have to function. I have to go to work, and then I have to do this all over again.
Okay, yeah.
So it wasn't terrible, but as far as side projects like this, it was at a complete standstill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then finally, once we got into routine, and then I was able to work on it some more, and then I was like, okay, it's time to test this because I'm sure it's way out of balance, and that's the most important thing with these games. You can come up with ideas. Oh, this is a warrior, this is a wizard, or whatever. But if the mechanics are off, players will choose this one because they know he's more powerful inherently, and they're going to win.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So we test played for 3 months.
Okay.
And that was pretty much once, if not twice a week. Fridays and Saturdays, if not, we always did it Friday.
Okay.
And we did that for 3 months, and I scrapped the abilities numerous times to fix them. And so after the 3 months test play, I was fairly confident in it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to have it ready for the last MagicCon because I wanted to be able to have something ready to go as far as the world's ready, the mechanics are good, the first at least half of the levels are all set. So and once that was all done, I felt confident. I was like, I want to have this out. That way people can try it out, play, so I can get their opinion. Do you like this? Is this cool only to me? You know, and that's what I really wanted to get out. And then we, you know, you were there and you saw us playing, and they got really heavily into it. I had a group the first day, and it was 2 guys that have played D&D beforehand.
Yep.
So they were hardcore nerds into D&D and Pathfinder and all those. And then I had 2 guys that have never played an RPG. And I loved it because after the initial setup and I explained how it kind of works, they delved right into it, got super into it, and just started role-playing.
Okay.
And that's the whole point of these games is to be someone else for a day.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were there.
Yes.
We were waiting because we wanted to go and check out the game. And an hour and a half later, we're like, oh, you guys are done playing? And they're like, no, we just got done setting up. And we're like, oh my gosh, what kind of a game is
It was hilarious. Like, they stopped by our table. They were like, no, we're just going to take a break. And I was like, oh gosh.
I thought it was some sort of like big map. I had no idea what kind of a game it was. But it was literally because they were shopping. A big chunk of this is you storytelling and like setting up the whole, which I loved. I think that is super neat. So in order for you to be that, you sort of have to become...
I don't want to say an expert,
sort of like
but like to be like the person who like the storyteller, like you kind of, I mean, like this is the kind of thing that because you're going to have the comic, but like, do you have to be an expert at it? Because I know Andrea and I would sit there and we'd be like, well, now we're going to have ponies because we don't know where we're going with this. Like,
I think I could figure some. It probably would have nothing to do with like the style of it.
Yeah, I know.
Have nothing to do with like space stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
I could totally make a story.
The like back in the day when there was just D&D, people liked zombies. They liked robots, and so they would make things up and just use the rules of D&D.
Okay.
And then eventually you have people making up their own games, and that's kind of like yeah. So D&D is the
that's
granddaddy of them all.
Right. Okay.
And that's all like all these are based off of.
Okay.
But in here, there's actually a few pages just dedicated to like the story maker, and then the story maker is the most important part for this because in these games the story should be the most important part.
Yeah,
right.
This is like you want to get deep into the story.
Okay,
that's the whole point of these games.
Yeah,
to me anyway.
Yes.
So in there, you don't have to be an expert as far as role playing games. You just have to have a little bit of imagination.
Okay. Right.
What kind of story do you want to tell? And basically, I have in there just some tips and tricks. It's like, hey, this is the universe. It has to have these things, which is a very small list of the haves to haves. Right. And the rest is just up to you. Because you don't want to control where the players go. becomes very unnatural and
Yeah.
they get frustrated. If you just let them do what they want to do and just have enough stuff, so they can just go in there, and that's what's really going to help with that. And NPCs, non-playable characters for.
Thank you, because we don't know what those acronyms mean.
We actually have like acronym cheat sheets.
A D6 or a normal die.
A normal die.
Right.
So, and
which I didn't know each dice had like a specific name.
Well, it's just, how many sides? 10.
Right.
Well, yeah,
it made
still.
sense like after it was explained, but as you're like talking in your acronym thing, I'm just like, I don't know what that is. I have no clue.
And it wasn't too long ago that I was the same way.
Right.
Look at where we're going to be in a few years, Andrea.
Right.
It's
so
scary.
when is your when do you propose that your game would be out for the public?
Yeah.
Or do you think that you have to go through another play testing, I guess? Like, do you have more play testing? Do you think that this is the final?
As far as play testing, the only thing we have not done was space combat.
Okay.
Because there's 8 different kinds of spaceships.
Okay.
From shuttles to big warships.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's the only thing we haven't touched in the game.
Okay.
So hopefully now the next process is to publish it, because it's basically a book.
It's just a book, yeah.
It's just a book.
So this is the kind of thing you're probably hoping and wanting it to be at least available, if not sooner, by next Imagicon. Kind of thought process, or are you wanting it like by Christmas? Or
by
I'm
Christmas.
just saying, like when
by the end of this year is the goal. I've already talked to a few things, like Amazon does like some self-publishing, and they do print on order, which is nice.
Yes,
right.
And I've already got the stuff for to sell at Barnes and Noble and things like that. They really don't require that much.
Yeah.
Well,
do you
your
have
name
anything?
is Wildspace.
Wildspace.
Right.
And this is Oscar, the creator.
I keep wanting to call you Oscar the Grouch. I know that that's not your name. But I keep wanting to say it. So do you have a website or a Facebook?
The game itself does not have a website page. I have a little tag on Facebook called Power of the Nerd Side.
Okay.
Power of the Nerd Side.
Yep.
So we want to say thank you, Oscar.
Thank you guys.
Oscar.
For hanging out on our orange couch with us.
It's comfy.
Isn't it though?
I might have to bum here a
sweet.
few nights. That's fine. Right? We're good with that?
I feel like your wife wouldn't be. But anyways.
It's probably because he plays all these RPG. She's going to be like, you go find a couch.
Go find a couch.
She's worse than I am with these friends. Trust me.
Anyways, well, thank you, Oscar, so much
Thanks for
drinking
our couch.
Yeah,
Your coffee.
drinking my coffee.
Your coffee.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So, well, that's it, you guys.
Yeah,
so if you guys like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And make sure to share this video with your friends. Get the word out for Wildspace, because it is actually a really awesome game. Again, it's kind of like our gateway game. So thanks for that one, Oscar.
RPGs, yes.
Yes.
Just adding
Great.
to our...
Our repertoire of geekness.
yes.
Yes. So thank
We'll
you.
work on it.
Right. We'll
So there you
share
go.
the Facebook link
Yeah.
on our page. And Nouveau Geek out, guys.
Bye, you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
We're done.
Oh, okay.
All done? We're done? Sure? We're done? We're done?